Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform, please reach out to me at tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a gorgeous corporate flagship launched at SIHH in 2016. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Grand Tradition Caliber 995 Tourbillon Cylindrique, best known as the Tourbillon Cylindrique. The timepiece, in platinum, is 42 millimeters in diameter, 13.4 millimeters thick, and 48.5 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. So the Master Grand Tradition Tourbillon Cylindrique simplifies previous cylindrical hairspring tourbillon watches that JLC had launched with other complications. This one gives pride of place to the tourbillon by itself. Throwing it on the wrist, you can see it wears quite easily. Comfortable and not terribly broad given its size. It has lugs that wrap around the wrist. This is the down the barrel shot, so you can see my 16 centimeter circumference wrist and over the top, and you can see that the watch is nowhere near overlapping. I think you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, and increasingly in these videos, I'm zooming out so you can better see how big my arm is. Everything looks oversized when it's right up next to the camera. Just look how big my hand is. This is not a huge watch. It is massive though, all in platinum. Back in 2016, everyone was talking about the 85th anniversary of the Reverso, but they might have missed one of the biggest highlights of the year for JLC, which was this magnificent machine. The strap in alligator leather uses medium rectangular scale. It's black with a matte finish. It is stuffed to give it some volume. It has curved spring bars, so the lugs can be drilled fairly close to the case with no impediment to its motion. We have a monotone black stitch, a sheer cut side showing the layers of leather, and then we have calf skin on the bottom, and as you can see, this is a brand new JLC factory strap. We have a double deployant clasp, and because this is JLC, the double deployant is made of white gold, because white gold is the hardest gold, making it the best choice for mechanical parts like these pivoted swing arms. There's a push button release on the other side of the buckle, so you just push that button and it pops right off if you want to swap straps. That makes it a little easier to do. You get a full deployant clasp to guard against accidentally dropping your watch. We have platinum, extra white, and my goodness, is it ever. It's wonderfully heavy in the hand. If you've never felt or worn a platinum watch, it's a revelation. It truly is otherworldly. It's like holding a slug of depleted uranium. Taking a quick look at the case band, you can see it's beautifully finished, as these are clearly welded construction lugs. You could see that they have a sharp break where they join the case band. This is old school case making. JLC makes its own movements, yes, but also its cases. And welding a platinum lug to a platinum case and then creating that sharp a break between polish and satination is a true craft art. Now there's a lot of nuance here as we have a stepped back case back to make it look a little bit thinner. When it's on the wrist, it actually nestles down. It looks thinner than it is. So we have that stepped back case back. We have a little bit of a step back to the bezel as well. There's fluting on the flank of the lug. The flanks as well as the tops of the lugs are polished. You can see the step back of the bezel. First, there's a little polished lip to the edge of the case. Then we have the step of the bezel. Then we have a concave profile to the bezel that creates the impression of a thinner watch. We have a simple JL branded crown, and then the dial is a lovely and luminous silver grain. It has a deep, rich, rough texture, far coarser than sandpaper. It's more evident to the eye. You can see that the hands at center are Dauphine style, and they're half frosted to make for better contrast against the dial. The dial, in a nice vintage touch, has been printed rather than festooned with applique, and because the dial does have such a wonderful richly grained surface, the choice of printed features here is the right one. You don't want to overpower and hide this dial. You don't want appliques here. That would be the wrong choice. The dial is also stepped at its base, and you can see there's a little bit of a finished bevel between the dial and its flank. You can see that the side of the dial, as it surrounds the tourbillon, has been satinated, and that little step down is designed to make it easier to see both the tourbillon, which you'll note is a flying tourbillon that has no upper bridge to block your view, and is equipped with a cylindrical hairspring. Not only does it have an overcoil at both ends, but the cylindrical profile, exactly like you would find in a vintage marine chronometer or navigation clock, it helps to center the mass of the hairspring, making it a better timekeeper in any position. Now, this watch is an automatic winder. unidirectional winding with ceramic rotor bearings for greater efficiency, and the movement, which you can see is caliber 995. It has that 45-hour power reserve. It has a 1-minute tourbillon, so you can use the little blued indices, the tri-spoke attached to the tourbillon, to read 20-second stretches of seconds. You can see one of them does have an index at its end, so that can be used as your constant seconds display. The movement is hand-adjusted and free-sprung for more precise regulation. All the regulation is done with masses on the balance wheel itself. The movement beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it's quite vocal. I don't know if you can hear it here, but even at arm's length, I can hear it ticking, and that's characteristic of most tourbillon watches. They definitely have a voice all their own. We'll turn the watch over one more time. Everything that's true of the case back is true of the tourbillon. The finish is to a high standard, and a higher standard than you typically find with JLC watches. As you can see, we have black polished and fired blued screws on this movement. We have both. The tourbillon cage features mirrored beveling on the edge of each one of its bridges, so the attention to detail is outstanding here. Rolling it all over, you can see that the case back features Côte de Soleil, or sunburst waves, radiating out from an imaginary center point underneath the tourbillon. We have mirrored beveling. It's very narrow, but it is there on all of the edges of the bridges, so it does have mirrored anglage. It's just very subtle. And then we have satination on all the wheels, and we have several different finishes, including black polish, deeply chiseled satination on the center of the rotor, and beveling on its edges. It is a gorgeous looking 31 jewel movement, all of this water resistant down to 50 meters. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.